Everybody, it's Zach again at new2torah.com. Yesterday was Wednesday, which means I went back to the Baptist church. My dad invited me to head over to their Baptist church. They're studying a book right now. Now, I left the Baptist church this last year before, a little over a year ago, a different Baptist church, but this is actually the Baptist church I was raised in. And so they're doing a study on the book called The 5,000-Year Leap. 5,000-Year Leap. It's by Cleon Skousen, who was a Mormon apologetics teacher, and a Mormon apologetics scholar, and a bunch of Baptists studying a book by a Mormon apologist. Go figure. So they're studying this book, and it is, because I've done some study on Mormonism, even back when I was in the Constantinian religion, I had a really good youth pastor who took us to Utah, Salt Lake City, and who taught us all about the cult of Mormonism. And so I'm pretty versed on that, and I can catch a lot of the stuff. This book is kind of, littered with it, here and there. And so I've been able to pick some things out of it that I recognize as some of their Mormon theology that this author has put in this book. Now, the author, it is an okay book. I understand where he's coming from. He's coming from a point of family, definitely something that this country's gotten away from, and he's looking at it with a point trying to get things back to where the founders envisioned it, which is a lot better than what we're at today. But, even the founders were kind of messed up on a lot of things. But he does have it littered with a lot of Mormon theology. Anyway, so we're going through this book, and it's just funny. I go there every week, and I just sit there usually and listen. I just listen to the back and forth by a number of people, and it's just kind of entertaining, I guess, because they're all just, I don't know, they're frustrated. And who wouldn't be frustrated at this scenario and this predicament that we're finding ourselves in? I don't blame them for being frustrated. I think they're looking for the answers in the wrong place. The answers are not here. The answers are in here. Okay? This is where the answers are. The answers are not in what our Constitution was at one time. Even the founders, they even mistakenly tried to put Christian, theology inside of our doctrine, but many of our founders were not Christian. Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense, was an adamant atheist. He did not believe in God at all whatsoever. There's just a lot of interesting things in this book that I think they're missing the point on. And it's not their fault. They've been raised with this idea of this theology of Christianity and our Constitution, and a lot of the founders did a lot of things right according to Torah. According to our Torah, the founders did a lot of things right, and because they did a lot of things right, our nation was blessed with prosperity and the fruit of the blessings that come with obeying the Torah. You don't have to be a perfect person, even a person who doesn't know the Lord at all whatsoever, who has no relationship with the Father. If they do the things, the instructions that are given in Torah, if they live that lifestyle, they're going to be blessed regardless, because it's a cause and effect. You live the way the Torah tells you to, you're going to reap the blessings that the Torah describes for living that way. It's not about a relationship at that point. God's instructions, you're not saved by keeping the law. That has nothing to do with salvation. But because you're saved, if you truly love the Father, you will follow His instructions. It's that simple. And so, the founders did a lot of things right. There's one page in here where it talks about the role of religion. And it's in this book, The 5,000-Year Leap. And there was a guy by the name of Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin said, we need to teach at least 5 things in school, in all the schools. We need to teach these 5 things. And I'm going to read the first couple. Number 1, there exists a creator who made up all things, and mankind should recognize and worship him. That's one thing they said they should teach. Number 2, the creator has revealed a moral code of behavior for happy living and distinguishes right from wrong. Okay. Number 3, the Creator holds mankind responsible for the way they treat each other. All right, let's just concentrate on those 3 first. Number 1, there exists a Creator who made all things, and mankind should recognize and worship Him. Okay. Yeah, there is a creator. He made all things, and we should recognize and worship him. The Bible tells us that the creation itself is proof enough for the creator. That should be proof enough. So yeah, they're right on there. Number 2, the creator has revealed a moral code of behavior for happy living which distinguishes right from wrong. And we went over this in class, and I'm just thinking, duh, it's called the Torah. What is it that distinguishes right from wrong? The Torah tells us what's right from wrong. The Torah tells us, do this, don't do that. It's simple. That's your moral code of behavior. And Christian apologetics today has seen the contradiction in the New Testament and the Old Testament. And their number one answer is, oh, well, there's a moral law and ceremonial law. But number one, I'm coming out with a video about this soon, but there is no such thing as moral law and ceremonial law in this book. You will not find the phrase moral law and ceremonial law in this book. There is no such phrase. It does not exist. God has one law, and he says that one law is for both the native born and the alien, for all people. You know, that's one law, one people. If you do not follow that Torah and you disobey him and reject him, then you're not his people. That's what he says. The Creator holds mankind responsible for the way they treat each other. Yeah, he does. He's going to hold you responsible. Love your neighbor. You know, the commandments tell you exactly how to love your neighbor, how to treat your neighbor, how to be an employer over your employees. You know, some people say that's slavery. It's not slavery. There's a difference between putting yourself into servitude as a member of the military. Being in the military at one time, the military was my master and I was its slave, according to what the Torah says. And you know, if you've been in the military, you know when you're in the military, you don't own yourself anymore. You are now an asset of the United States government. You don't own you. Okay? If you hurt yourself, you can actually be charged. I've heard of this, where you can actually be charged with destruction of government property if you hurt yourself intentionally. So you don't own yourself. You are now a slave to the master, and that's what that's referring to. So yeah, the Torah gives us all the instructions that we need to how to treat each other, and he's going to hold us accountable for following that Torah or not. And that's what sin is. Sin is transgression of the law. Paul said, "I had not known sin but by the law." The law tells us what sin is, and so that. I just think that people are mistaking this. We're trying to get back to the Constitution and not realizing really where we should be turning back to. Forget the Constitution. Yeah, it's great. But if we would just turn back, if we want to heal our land, we should turn from our wicked ways and come back to his ways. His ways are what heal the land, not the Constitution. Anyway, this is an interesting class. I'm enjoying the dialogue, or enjoying listening to the dialogue. I did speak up, I think, one time last night. Just basically, I forgot what I was saying, what I had mentioned now, but I did speak up once. But anyway, it's an interesting class. I'm enjoying it. The 5,000-year leap. I would recommend not buying the book. It's a complete waste of time. Do not buy this book. It's pointless. It's written by a Mormon apologetics. I like some of his nephew's books. His nephew is Joel Skosin, and he's got some good books, but out there about preparedness and survival. And he's a Mormon too, so I'm not endorsing Mormonism by endorsing Joel Skosin, but I think he can provide some good information on preparedness and surviving. But it's pointless. Avoid the book. It's not really worth buying. What you need to be turning back to, because all this book is going to try to get you to do is convince you to turn back to the Constitution, when in reality, we should be turning back to this. So that's all I got. I'll talk to you again next week. If anything else comes up in the class, maybe not. They got new subjects, but it's always kind of, like I said, interesting to hear the dialogue back and forth with people who are in the class. Okay, take care. Most importantly, go home, read your Bible. Thanks.